A hometown traitor, mocked for his cringe-worthy fashion sense, and for saying he deserved to be picked higher than Ja Morant. That's Tyler Herro. That swagger wasn't baseless. The current Miami Heat star drives a Rolls-Royce to the arena, lives in a multi-million-dollar Miami mansion, has a hot Instagram girlfriend, and became an all-star at just 25 years old. They used to laugh, thinking he was just a Gen Z NBA sideshow. Now they have to see him as a legitimate star. So how did an unknown kid come to own a life like a top-tier rapper? Is it the result of talent, guts, or some terrifying power lurking behind the scenes? Today, let's delve into the life of the star currently carrying the Miami Heat, Tyler Herro.
Oh my God, Tyler Herro!
Chapter 1. Childhood. Shocking decision and rejection from his hometown. In Greenfield, a quiet suburb of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, winter arrived early, and young boys playing basketball often had to shoot hoops in the snow or on cracked concrete courts. It was there that Tyler Herro, a boy born on January 20th, 2000, began his journey with the orange ball, not in a lavish academy, but from practicing shots with his father in the garage behind their house. Tyler wasn't born into a wealthy family, but he had a clear athletic foundation. His father, Chris Herro, was once a promising high school player, but his career was cut short by an ACL injury. Perhaps it was that unfulfilled dream that led him to place all his faith in his firstborn son, not with pressure, but with a kind of unspoken discipline. If you really want something, don't wait for someone to hand it to you. Tyler grew up with two younger brothers, Austin and Miles, in a home where sports weren't an option, but a way of life. He quickly showed an exceptional scoring talent, and while kids his age were still figuring out how to get the ball in the basket, Tyler was already learning how to create space, control his speed, and shoot with a shooter's quick release. However, nothing came easy. As a child, during an indoor soccer game, Herro fell and hit his head on an iron door, leaving a scar that stretched across his forehead. He never asked to hide it because, in Herro's words, "Every scar reminds me that there was a time I risked everything to pursue what I loved." In high school, Herro attended Whitnall High School in Greenfield. There, he became a Wisconsin State phenomenon. In his senior year, Tyler averaged nearly 33 points per game, shot over 43% from three-point range, and had games that made the audience rise to their feet in applause after just the second quarter. But the biggest turning point didn't come from the basketball court. It came from an email, an invitation from legendary coach John Calipari of the University of Kentucky. When Herro decided to withdraw his commitment from the University of Wisconsin, his hometown team, to join Kentucky, a social media storm erupted. The 17-year-old boy was publicly criticized by hundreds, called a traitor, a glory seeker, and even received threats. Tyler Herro didn't respond. He just stayed silent and practiced his shots. In a later interview, Herro once said, "I learned how to be cold from that moment. If you can keep a cool head when an entire city turns its back on you, then you can do it in any arena." Tyler Herro's childhood didn't have any major drama or the tragedy of poverty, but it was full of difficult choices. He wasn't the most loved, wasn't the most trusted, but he chose to step out of his comfort zone earlier than anyone else. The white kid from the Midwest entered Kentucky amidst doubt. And a few years later, he left with a steely gaze, carrying a message that every opponent understood. I don't need to be drafted higher, I just need to be remembered longer. Chapter 2. Career. From phenomenon to team cornerstone. The NBA is where dreams become reality, but it's also where expectations can be crushed after just one season. For Tyler Herro, the dream wasn't just to walk across the stage at the 2019 draft, it was to prove that he belonged there. Selected by the Miami Heat with the 13th pick in the first round, Tyler arrived in South Beach as a promising shooter, but he was never grouped with the future stars. Then, just a few months later, while the world was still marveling at Luka Doncic or Ja Morant, Herro quietly wrote his own chapter in Florida. In his rookie season, he averaged 13.5 points, a not particularly outstanding number, but what made him stand out was his demeanor. Herro played with an unusual coolness for a rookie. He wasn't afraid of big moments. He didn't shy away from the spotlight. In the 2020 playoffs against the defensive giants of the Boston Celtics, Tyler Herro scored 37 points, becoming the first player born after the year 2000 to do so in a playoff game. The entire NBA looked up, and the Miami Heat smiled. They knew they had made the right choice. But not every year was like 2020. The following season, as opponents began to figure him out, Herro faced immense pressure. He was criticized for his poor defense, for not having the physical build to play shooting guard, for being only hot when he was new. The media began comparing him to other rookies, and many opinions suggested that Herro was a flashy but insubstantial version. Once again, Herro didn't respond to the media with words. He responded with points. In the 2021 to 2022 season, he accepted a move to the bench to become the sixth man, a role that no one in the younger generation wanted to take. But from that position, Tyler averaged 20.7 points per game, led all bench players in the league, and was honored as the NBA Sixth Man of the Year. A title that no player in Miami Heat history had ever won before. That persistence continued to bear fruit. Despite suffering an injury in the 2023 season and missing most of the playoffs, Herro returned strong in 2024 to 2025, scoring nearly 24 points per game, winning the NBA three-point contest and making his first appearance in the All-Star game. Herro was no longer a phenomenon. He was a team cornerstone. In a context where Jimmy Butler was past his prime and Bam Adebayo was no longer a player who could single-handedly create breakthroughs, it was Herro, with his step-back three-pointers, his driving floaters, and his ice-cold composure, who became the reliable anchor for Miami. What makes people remember Herro isn't just his calmness when shooting at the end of games, but also his resilience in the face of doubt. From someone labeled overhyped because of his appearance and style, Tyler Herro gradually proved that. Every spotlight can fade, but true value does not. From his days wearing a high school uniform in Wisconsin, Tyler Herro had always stood out, not just for his cold-blooded three-point shooting ability, but also for his style. Leather jackets, unique Nike sneakers, a neat haircut with eyes that showed no fear in front of the camera. The boy looked like he had just stepped out of a Travis Scott music video rather than a high school basketball game. But what few people knew was that Herro was once considered showy, a wannabe rapper, and was mocked for being too cool to be a real player. Chapter 3. Assets, money, mansions, and a Gen Z stars. Different definition. Then, upon entering the NBA, Herro not only proved his talent with clutch shots, but also quickly landed on the list of the league's youngest and smartest earners. In 2022, at the age of 22, he signed a 4-year contract extension with the Miami Heat worth $130 million, a figure that made every doubting eye take notice. Instead of chasing a hollow, flashy image, Herro chose his own distinctive lifestyle, strategic luxury, justifiable expense. The first piece of real estate he invested in after signing his big contract was a $10.5 million mansion in Pinecrest, Florida, one of the quietest and most private residential areas in suburban Miami, where the wealthy, from football players to tech CEOs, choose to nest. This mansion isn't just a house, it's a private estate designed in a modern style with a touch of Mediterranean influence. It spans over 9,500 square feet, with high ceilings, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the garden, and a voice-controlled smart home system integrated from security to lighting. Outside, there's a competition-length swimming pool, a mini basketball court, an outdoor BBQ area, and especially a garage dedicated to 5 cars, like a miniature supercar gallery. Leading the car lineup is a white Rolls-Royce Cullinan with cream leather interiors embroidered with Herro on the headrests. Next to it is a Mansory-tuned Lamborghini Urus, a not-so-surprising choice for someone who once described his style as cool but playful. The rest of the collection includes an all-black Mercedes-AMG G63, a Tesla Model X plaid for eco-friendly practice days, and especially a vibrant red Ferrari 812 Superfast, the car he bought after his first NBA season as a way to reward himself for overcoming all the criticism. Although he doesn't frequently flaunt his wealth on social media, Herro still always catches attention without being loud, just by appearing at the right time. He lets the media and paparazzi do the work for him through snapshots taken hastily when leaving his mansion's garage, or candid photos of him holding hands with his girlfriend, Katya Elise Henry, stepping out of a Chrome Heart store in Wynwood, a limited edition Goyard bag in hand. Herro doesn't show off to impress. He lives according to his true nature, expensive, high quality, and selective. With Katya and their 2 young children, the house in Pinecrest is a true home, where Herro spends his free time playing with his kids, working out in his private gym, and planning for his future beyond basketball. According to a close source, he has secretly bought another plot of land near Fort Lauderdale, right by the coast, where designs for a second vacation villa are underway. This could be a place for both relaxation and hosting private events like workshops, personal training sessions, or even a high-end Airbnb investment for young players during the off-season. But what's most special about Herro is the unwavering discipline, even while living amidst millions of dollars in assets. People who work with him describe Herro as the guy who arrives at the gym earlier than the strength coach, and doing cardio in his garage while his friends are posting pictures of themselves partying. He lives like a star, but on his own schedule, and has never forgotten where he came from. Herro's extravagance doesn't just come from his multi-million-dollar contract. In addition to endorsement deals with Nike and Gatorade, he also invests in a sports nutrition startup based in Florida and is considering opening a chain of sports lifestyle spaces for Gen Z in the Brickell area of Miami. It would be a combination of a gym, a content studio, and a streetwear showroom where Herro can combine his 2 loves, fashion and sports. At 25, Tyler Herro possesses everything that makes others envious. A big contract, a multi-million-dollar mansion, unique supercars, a beautiful wife and children, and a well-managed financial future. But he doesn't live to impress. He lives to control the game in his own way. Unlike many NBA players who like to talk about their relationships in the media, Tyler Herro chooses to express his love in a different way. Few words, but many actions. And if there's anything more solid than his 3-point shooting accuracy, it's his relationship with Katya Elise Henry, his partner, the mother of his 2 children, and also the first person to believe that he was more than just a good player. Chapter 4. Marriage, Enduring Love Amidst Social Media Storms. Katya is not an unfamiliar name. She is a fitness model, a prominent influencer with millions of followers on Instagram. Known for her stunning physique, sharp features, and healthy glam lifestyle, Katya was once the role model for thousands of young women in America. But when she met Herro, a rising NBA rookie in 2020, they both entered a relationship that few believed would last. They connected through social media. A simple message from Herro, "You're beautiful," was the beginning of a journey over 5 years long, overcoming many doubts, scandals, and ups and downs. In September 2021, Katya gave birth to their first daughter, Zia Elise Herro. 2 years later, the couple welcomed a son, Harlem. Although they have never held an official wedding ceremony, they still call each other family, raising their children together, building a home in their luxurious Miami mansion. In the eyes of outsiders, Katya is a sex symbol. Herro is a cool player. But in their private life, they show a very ordinary closeness. Grocery shopping together, playing with their children in the garden, and appearing casually together on holidays. Katya once wrote on Instagram, "He's the only one who can balance being an NBA star and being a dad at the same time every day." However, their relationship hasn't always been smooth sailing. In late 2022, social media buzzed when they both unfollowed each other and didn't post photos together for months. Breakup rumors flared up, accompanied by unfounded gossip. But in early 2023, when Katya reappeared with Herro, this time with a visible baby bump, everything went silent. They overcame the storm in their own way. No explanations, just continuing to live. Herro once shared in a post-All-Star interview, "I don't want my kids to remember how many points I scored. I just want them to remember that I was always home when they needed me." Perhaps that's why, despite living in a world of athletes often filled with scandals, Tyler Herro has maintained the image of a man who knows what he needs to protect. He's not perfect, but he's responsible. And sometimes that warm silence is what makes people remember him longer than any statistic on the court. Chapter 5. Scandal. Criticized for living differently. There's an unwritten rule in the world of sports. If you're famous, handsome, and live like a star, you'll have to learn to endure public opinion more than the rest. And Tyler Herro understands that better than most. Since entering the NBA, Herro has been a controversial player, not because he violated any serious rules, but because he dared to live differently and live in a way that some people couldn't accept. Dressing like a rapper, posting fashion photos like a model, dating a hot influencer, and openly displaying confidence. For some, he is the new icon of the modern generation of players. But for others, he is a cocky white boy, delusional, and doesn't fit the old NBA culture. The first storm hit when Herro publicly decommitted from the University of Wisconsin to join Kentucky in 2017. At that time, he was just a 17-year-old high school student, but he was fiercely attacked by basketball fans in Wisconsin, his home state, and called a traitor. The boy once shared that it was that period that made him cold and less trusting, and also the reason why he later didn't react when criticized. In 2020, when he started to become famous, a series of photos of Herro with bold fashion styles appeared in magazines. In a podcast, he once said, "I think I should have been drafted higher than Ja Morant." That one sentence was enough to make social media explode. People started creating memes, giving him the nickname NBA's most confident benchwarmer. And every slump in his performance afterward was scrutinized more closely than others. By 2024, while playing consistently well, Herro was involved in a collision with Houston Rockets player Amen Thompson. After a physical altercation, the two nearly got into a fight and were ejected from the game. The NBA later fined each player $25,000. The media needed nothing more. Articles with headlines like "Herro loses his cool again, too young to lead the team" appeared everywhere, even though the situation wasn't particularly serious compared to the NBA average. Worse, in the same year, rumors circulated that Tyler and his girlfriend Katya had broken up after she deleted their photos together and unfollowed him. Netizens speculated that he was caught texting another model, although no one had any evidence. Herro remained silent, not saying a word. And a few months later, Katya announced that she was pregnant with their second child. Both the rumors and the judgment quietly vanished, as if they had never existed. Maybe Herro has never crossed the line like some notorious stars. But he understands that just by living prominently, you become a target, and what he chooses to fight public opinion isn't excuses. It's silence and consistent performance on the court. Scandal can make someone lose everything, but if you overcome it, it can also forge an unbreakable competitive spirit. Tyler Herro chooses to be true to himself and accept the price of being different. When people mention NBA stars, it's often names associated with dazzling highlights, brilliant titles, or media explosions. But Tyler Herro doesn't need that. He's not an MVP, not on magazine covers every month. Yet, year after year, Herro is still there, scoring consistently, making the playoffs, and being an indispensable part of the Miami Heat roster. Chapter 6. Achievements. Not a superstar, but the player the team can't do without. Herro entered the league with skepticism, but quickly wrote his name in the 2020 playoffs history books by becoming the first player born after the year 2000 to score over 30 points in a playoff game, a record no one expected. That season, the Miami Heat went straight to the NBA Finals, and Herro, at the age of 20, wasn't just a phenomenon. He was part of the new identity the team was building. In the following seasons, as his role changed, from a sensational rookie to a strategic bench player, Herro didn't complain. He accepted taking a step back to gain momentum. And in the 2021 to 2022 season, he exploded with an average of over 20 points per game, leading the league in bench scoring, and was honored as the NBA Sixth Man of the Year. This wasn't just an individual title. It was proof of his willingness to sacrifice his ego for the greater system. By 2025, Herro marked a significant milestone when he was selected to the All-Star team for the first time, and not long after, he won the NBA three-point contest, where the league's best shooters gathered. No one called him famous because of his girlfriend or an Instagram star anymore. Herro was now one of the most complete shooting guards of the Gen Z generation, recognized for both his skill and his competitive spirit. But Herro's greatest achievement isn't on paper. It's in maintaining his performance consistently in an environment that can change you after just one misstep. He didn't get caught up in major scandals. He didn't lose himself when stepping into the spotlight. And he never stopped practicing, even when people no longer mentioned his name in every title race. Erik Spoelstra, the head coach of the Miami Heat, once said about Herro, "He's not just a shooter, he's a system. He's the guy you want to keep in any rebuild." Sometimes achievement isn't about how many trophies you've won, it's about how many people trust you to be an important part of something bigger than yourself. For Tyler Herro, that trust is becoming increasingly clear, not because he has one explosive game, but because he's always there, every day, with the same effort. Tyler Herro isn't the type of player who makes people scream every time he steps on the court. He doesn't make highlight reel dunks, doesn't celebrate excessively, doesn't grab the mic after the game. Instead, he shoots, silently, accurately, ice cold. Chapter 7. Future. Now is the time to explode. At 25, Herro has everything that many players don't achieve in their entire careers. A $130 million contract, a stable small family, 2 adorable children, a mansion in the heart of Miami, and his name appearing in the All-Star game. But what's most special is that he hasn't truly exploded all yet. Tyler Herro has gone through the sensational rookie phase. He's endured periods of doubt and prejudice surrounding him. He has also proven that he has the resilience to stand firm in a fiercely competitive system like the NBA. Now, everything is converging on one moment, his prime. With his current age and experience, Herro is standing at the threshold where good players become legends if they know how to seize the right moment. The Miami Heat is also entering a transitional phase as Jimmy Butler passes his peak, and the team needs a new name to build its future around. Many believe that Herro is the first building block of this new era. Off the court, Herro is also preparing for further steps, expanding his personal investments, developing his personal image on fashion and lifestyle platforms, and potentially venturing into fields like sports education or digital media. He once said, "I don't just want to be a player, I want to become the best version of myself on and off the court. The only question now is no longer, is Tyler Herro good enough? But is he ready to lead when an entire system needs someone who dares to step forward? A person who was once mocked for choosing his own path, once called a traitor, once doubted simply because he lived differently. And then, step by step, he overcame it all, not with words, but with perseverance, silence, and a cold-blooded determination that made the entire NBA wary. The future hasn't arrived yet, but with everything he has accumulated and that heavy silence, Tyler Herro is very close to a moment, the moment when the entire league will not only see him as a good player, but as a true icon of the new generation. From a boy turned away by his own hometown to a man quietly conquering the NBA in his own way. Tyler Herro has never needed to be loud to get noticed, because those who have the courage to live differently will always be remembered, even without trying to impress. His story isn't just about basketball, it's about living authentically, living with quality, and always knowing who you are. We are not responsible if you misunderstand or misapply this content. Please consider, verify, and selectively accept the information. Enjoyed it? Give a like, comment, share, or subscribe to the channel. That's the fuel to help us tell more top-notch stories about people who never stop pushing boundaries.